Hello to all my wonderful subscribers, students, and disciples. This is your Master GongSun. Welcome to another episode of Taoism as applied to the news. Today's story, Rachel Zegler. Is the fairy tale over for deflated-looking Rachel Zegler? Disney braces for $115 million loss over woke Snow White disaster, and she's to blame. Well, I don't think she's entirely to blame. Disney made a lot of mistakes in casting and storytelling, just awful. I mean, I am a big fan of Walt Disney. In fact, I've read his biography at least 5, 6 times back when I wanted to be a cartoonist. So Disney would not have approved of remaking Snow White. He once said you cannot top pigs with pigs. This is in reaction to the success of the Three Little Pigs. He didn't want to make more. He would rather have made an original movie instead of remaking old ones. So that's Disney's first mistake there. They really should have made an original movie instead of changing Snow White to make it completely unrecognizable. Anyway, let's just read a bit about this, and then I'll give you my opinion after. Rachel Zegler looked somber as she was pictured out in New York City this week, following the humiliating box office performance of her latest film, Snow White. The actress, 23, whose strong political opinions have been blamed for the film's poor performance in theaters, was spotted walking her dog. Alright, well, anyway, I'm not going to read the whole thing because I think a lot of us are familiar with what happened there. Let's see, there was a falling out over their differing views on Israel with Gal Gadot. Yeah, and then she had to agree to allow a social media professional to vet her posts. Oh, God. Okay, well, here's my personal opinion, and then I'll tell you what the Tao says about this. But, just in summary, I mean, she spouted her mouth about an issue that she clearly knows nothing about. The Israel-Palestine issue is very complex, and only those who are in the know should have a legitimate opinion. Otherwise, people really shouldn't be saying anything. And I won't say anything about Israel versus Palestine because I know nothing about it. Like I know more than Rachel does for sure because I did study history, but I still don't know as much as someone from that region. Anyway, the point is that a 23-year-old who is obviously uneducated, I don't think she has a university degree. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she didn't even graduate college or high school for that matter. Right? She shouldn't really be allowed to have an opinion. I don't think she's even been there. So what the hell does she know about the Israel-Palestine issue? Nothing. Right? And there was more to it than that. I mean, she also insulted half the country by insulting Trump voters. I mean, regardless of what you think about Trump, I mean, he did win all the swing states and the popular vote in the 2024 presidential election. And honestly, she has to know when to shut the hell up. Just because you have an opinion doesn't mean everyone has to know about it. And that's a problem with today's social media, right? It's become too easy to have an uninformed opinion. And that's a problem. I mean, what the hell does a 23-year-old who has probably never been to that area of the world know about this conflict? Nothing, right? And I heard that her social media posts became so terrible. I mean, it resulted in Disney and their film being jeopardized. I mean, to the point where they had to hire someone to tell her to shut the hell up, or she got a huge dressing down from the higher ups, from the executives, saying that if you keep spouting off your mouth, especially about something you know nothing about, then it's going to end horribly for you. It's going to tank our film, and you will never again work in Hollywood again. So that is not good. And that's my personal opinion. And Taoism says that honestly, if you don't know something that well, just keep quiet. I mean, always say less than necessary. Strike a middle ground, and especially when you're young and ignorant about the world. You shouldn't really be talking about things you know nothing about. She clearly doesn't know much about most things of the world, especially politics. And I've seen her interviews, and she keeps talking about, she says things that are either condescending, by, for example, insulting the original 1937 Snow White, which, by the way, is historically significant, culturally important, because it is the first full length, feature length animated film. And I remember reading about the making of this 1937 film by Walt Disney, how he pretty much acted out the entire movie for all his animators and storyboard artists first. And anyway, in any case, there's always a law of cause and effect. I mean, I don't expect someone that young. I mean, when you're 23, you're not mature. Most people don't mature. They do not mature until they're at least in their 30s. So she's lucky to be paid millions of dollars to make a Disney film, and then she goes off and ruins it by talking about something that honestly she knows nothing about, and it wouldn't kill her to hold it in, even if she has strong opinions about Israel versus Palestine. Like, why does everyone need to know about it? Right? And that's a problem with today's world, that you give a platform, you give a lot of influence to people who clearly know nothing about certain topics. Just because she's good at acting and singing does not make her an expert in history and politics, and that's a problem. That's a huge ass problem. Anyway, law of cause and effect. The cause is that she was very vocal about something that she clearly doesn't know much about, and the effect is that, well, she probably will not be cast in a leading role ever again in anything. And that is justified. That is well deserved. Now, we can't blame her entirely for Snow White, because that movie was a disaster since the very beginning. Everyone knows it. I mean, I am a fan of Disney, but I don't like how they keep remaking stuff. There is no originality there. It's just a mad cash grab. So my advice to Disney is that make up more original stories. I mean, the reason Beauty and the Beast was so successful, in fact, the first animated film to be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, is that it was original. It was not a remake. And it was an excellent story, excellent song and dance, excellent dance and song numbers. Just excellent, just wonderful. And I love their original theme song. You know, the lyricist and composer, Howard Ashman and Alan Menken, they did a great job there. So I know Disney is capable of so much more, and they've become lazy and unoriginal, and frankly, it is disgusting. I no longer support them, not until they return to wonderful storytelling. And that's a shame, because I was once a big fan of Disney. Alright, this has been your Master GongSun. What do you guys think? Have you seen this disaster of a movie? Leave your comments below. As usual, keep living in alignment with the Tao, because we know she hasn't been.